Welcome, folks, to this JMC 101 Welcoming New User webinar. It's June 25th, 2025. My name is Paul Freed. I am a trainer here at JMC. Been with JMC for something like 21 years now, training new folks how to use JMC. I'm here in Lake City, Minnesota. I'm joined by the one and only Greg Appleby. Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Paul. I'm Greg Appleby from JMC. I'm in north central Nebraska, O'Neill, Nebraska, actually, the Irish capital of Nebraska. And I've been with JMC for 2 years working as client service specialist after retiring from 34 years in education, the last 22 as a principal.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. Learn the basics of JMC Office. Pop quiz. How many tools are built into the JMC Office portal? 20. That's 20 modules, as we call them, to help your team save time on the essentials like communicating absences to families, managing registration, and more. Learn the basics of those JMC Office time savers, including how to tie the appropriate context to students, helping to set up the stage for everything from lunch to tuition. We also run you through our JMC homepage, aka your dashboard, for tracking pending items, accessing learning resources, and finding support. So this video is meant for the person who's brand new to JMC. It is a high-level view of what JMC can do. It's a up-close view of our JMC homepage, as we said there, and it's a way to just help hopefully send you off in knowing, what are the basic pages I might be accessing right away, like the homepage. How do I add in a new contact? How do I work with contacts? And then after that, after you get kind of the basics here, then you can go and you can start to learn about the different modules and how they work with JMC, whether it's attendance or discipline and things like that. But this is that, in some ways, a mile-high view, in some ways, some specific tools you can use as we move forward. We go through the information very quickly in this video because there's a lot, right? There's a lot to JMC. And so we want to just let you know what JMC can do, and then you can choose the resources and get the training you need for those specific tasks you'll be doing. Please hold all of your questions until the Q&A session at the end of each section. If you do need to communicate with the host, feel free to use the Q&A chat feature in your webinar toolbar. If you send us a message here, we have Q&A slides at the end of each section. That's when we'll access those. You can really send them in any time, but we're probably not going to get to them until the end of a section. So we'll start with your school's JMC site. Each school district has its own unique URL. For example, yourschool.onlinejmc.com. We call this your school's JMC main page. If you don't know what your JMC main page is, you can go to your school's website and find that if you want to, or you could talk to your tech professional. But it's going to be, if you went to the office program or someplace on your school's main page and you got rid of everything after .com, that would take you to your school's JMC main page. This is JMC's main page, this landing page. JMC's main page is comprised of 9 unique software solutions for the entire school community. Click on any of the icons to launch the coordinating JMC portal. You'll see we're pointing to the office side because that's what we're focusing on for much of this webinar. And for much of your onboarding as a new JMC user, you'll be looking at how you use the JMC Office. With its robust functionality and intuitive interface, the JMC Office software solution helps school administrative professionals save time, eliminate outdated processes, and streamline workflows. When I talk about the front office with schools that are new to JMC, I say the front office is the hub of a wheel. It has to function smoothly, it has to function efficiently for all the spokes to line up and for everybody else to be able to do their work efficiently. Teachers and parents and your coaches and all those kinds of stuff. You got to be able to run JMC Office efficiently. Alongside our comprehensive lunch module, JMC offers a point of sale software for school cafeteria sales. JMC's point of sale is an easy to use and efficient addition to any school's breakfast or lunch line. Ring up meal purchases, access detailed reporting of both meals and a la carte purchases, and more. So why are we going through these? We're going through each one of these different modules that we have here. So we talked about the office, then we talked about the point of sale, and we're going to keep on rolling. Busy teachers, JMC offers a host of tools to simplify student assessment and classroom management. From seating charts to lesson plans and progress reports to test scores, JMC puts teachers at the front of the class in the JMC Teacher module. That's what your teachers will use. Everything they need as a standard classroom teacher is in that JMC Teacher portal. JMC software strengthens the connection between home and school by offering families a 360-degree view of their student, from discipline, interventions, and busing information to academic progress and more in the JMC Family Portal. Many schools underutilize the JMC Family Portal for families to go online, see grades, see attendance, and so on and so forth. It's a great way to give families access, but it doesn't take you any time whatsoever. Then offering students a comprehensive view of their academic life can lead them down a path to success. JMC's student software solution allows kiddos to view all data related to their coursework from the convenience of a web browser. This includes attendance, progress reports, lesson plans, and course registration, as well as meal account purchases. So the JMC student is very, very similar to the JMC family portal, but in the JMC family portal, a family member, like a parent or guardian, can see all the students in their family. With the JMC student portal, they can only see their own information. Then JMC's new enrollment software solution allows new families to quickly enter their demographic data and information about students who are going to be newly enrolled in your district from the comfort of their home. So when a new family reaches out and said, hey, I'm interested in coming to your school, you can send them the link to the new enrollment portal, and families who have never been to your school district can fill out their contact information, information about their students, and send that back to the school so you don't have to hand type that information in. And then with the Community Message Center, your messaging system is expanded to the entire community, enabling anyone interested to sign up for communication through texts, phone messages, and emails. This means schools can alert daycare centers, after-school clubs, grandparents, aunts, uncles, anybody, and more about school closings, or connect with the community by sharing photos of positive events or recent blood drives. So that's the overall portals, like we were saying there. I'm going to actually run to the JMC side here. Your homepage here, again, whatever school you might go to. So if I went to my Lake City school here, so I'm going to Lake City, Minnesota school, where you can find your homepage. Go to your school's homepage and find out where the link to the parent portal, they typically call it parent portal. We call it the family portal here. So I'm going to come down here. Let's see, I haven't been to this one in a while. So I'll come to the high school. Here's JMC links. So here is, let's go to, for example, the parent, they call it JMC Parent Access. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get rid of everything after .com. So all this, you can sit there, get rid of that, hit return. That's my JMC's main page. Really easy to do and listed there. So you can access them there. We went through each one. I'm going to keep on rolling because I said we've got a lot of information in this particular training. And so we want to keep you rolling. All right. Getting started in JMC Office with key pages and features. Greg, why don't you walk us through our homepage?
Sure, Paul. The JMC Central Hub of the JMC Office. Your JMC homepage is the central hub of JMC Office. It keeps you informed about important tasks while also being the jumping off point to all other pages. Let's take a look at the center, which is a current snapshot of what's happening now, the right, which is quick access items, and the left, which is the menu tree. The center of the homepage is where you'll see what is happening now within your school and within JMC. Today's school day number is listed at the top. The current date and school day number are displayed at the top of the page. So your elementary can always know when it's going to be day number 100 and they can have their celebrations. Pending submissions is a visual indicator showing when submissions from families, teachers, or coaches are awaiting review and approval.
Absolutely. Keep on rolling there, Greg.
Stay up to date with all of the online training provided by JMC during the school year. Upcoming learning opportunities are in the middle. JMC training team news and calendar events are displayed in the middle of the page.
It's worth it to take 30 seconds every month just to look at the beginning of the month and see what our upcoming learning opportunities are.
The right side of the homepage is very important. Except for the quick links, it stays the same no matter what page you're on in JMC Office or what solution you're using. Support information is at the top. The team's phone number, email address, and remote support link are always available in the upper right corner of the page. Also, submit a feature request, a link that provides users direct access to submit a feature request or enhancement they'd like to see in JMC.
We want to hear from you. If you've got a question, reach out to our support team. If you got an idea to make JMC better, let us know.
The current year and building are also listed on the right side, drop-down lists that allow you to switch between buildings and school years, making it easy to toggle back and forth. Quick links, page links appropriate to the current displayed page appear in a quick links section on the right side of the page. And then the always helpful in-app help widget at the bottom. that has direct access to JMC's Help Center and Technical Support Department is located in the bottom right corner of the page.
Absolutely.
And now just left of center, just like the right side of the homepage, the left side stays the same too, meaning you'll always find the menu tree specific to each software solution here. The menu tree, data items, which we call modules, that are organized by task and function, and then a home link, which returns you to the home page from anywhere in the program by simply clicking the icon.
And you'll see that I go to the homepage a lot when I'm moving around through JMC. That just is a way for me to help orientate people to where we're at. So let's take a brief look at the JMC homepage here. So I've already logged into my JMC homepage. Well, how did I do that? Let's just show you that first here. And if you don't know how to log in, you will want to talk to your, your technology professional at your school to get your login credentials. I'm going to come here and I'm going to just open this up in a new tab. Here is my JMC Office login, put in my username and password. When I come in here, I'm not going to go through every single thing. I'm just going to highlight a few items. Again, tech support's listed right up here. Now, every school that uses JMC will have the switch a building feature, even if you only have one building. So we have some smaller schools in Nebraska that are K-12 in that one building. So they'll have that K-12 building here. We still have this district building where some of the setup items are. So you have to do some lunch setup items there, tuition fee setup items. So it's kind of one of our setup buildings there as well. Your district calendar will go in there as well. Schools that have multiple buildings, like 3 elementaries and 2 middle schools and 2 high schools, will have all of them listed right down here. But you'll still have that district building, which is the setup building that's listed there as well. Across the middle, like I said, you want to be able to go and you can scroll through and see the different learning opportunities you have each month. Very important to keep up to date on what's going on inside JMC. And then I like to tell folks about the tree view on the left-hand side that most modules, not all, are set up with a data and reports item. So under discipline, data is entering data items like the student discipline or problem behaviors and so on. Reports is running reports on that area. So it's very easy to find the different reports we have in JMC. Same with period attendance. So under period attendance, there's data for entering data and reports for entering reports. Not every module is that way. Like for example, under the health module, there's too many different subheadings. So we break them up here. We've got immunizations and a medication log and medical emergency plan. So all the different items are underneath these different subheadings so you can find them more easily than just data and reports. The same or similar is like with lunch. We still have data, but free and reduced is its own thing. Like sometimes the business manager runs free and reduced in a school. So they might actually run the lunch program, but they process free and reduced applications. So that's why we break them up in this way as well. But in essence, if you can find the module you're looking for, which is pretty self-explanatory, you can typically find what you're looking for when you're looking for. So if I wanted to print report cards or a GPA report, I would go to grading. I'm looking to do a report, a GPA report, down to grade point averages. And that's my GPA report that's listed there. So, Greg, anything else you want to highlight with this main page, or do you think we covered it?
No, Paul, just a question. If I wanted to send a message, where would I go on that left side?
Absolutely, great question. You would go to the message center. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, of course. But I would go to message center to send messages. We find it easy to find the screen that you are looking for as well. If I wanted to say I sent out a whole bunch of voice messages and I want to say, how are they going out? What percentage have been sent? We go to message status there. So again, this is one of those modules where we don't have data and reports. We just put all the items underneath that module for you to easily be able to find them and to reduce clicks as well. So let's take a moment and see if anybody has any questions about the JMC homepage. Again, like we said in the beginning, it's meant to be a dashboard. So you can go there. Oh, I didn't say one other thing, by the way. It's meant to be a dashboard. We didn't talk about items that are sent in from parents or teachers or from prospective families. I'm actually going to switch to last year because we're still, at the end of the 2024-2025 school year. You'll see up here that we have links telling you that somebody has sent information in from, again, teachers or a discipline report or grades or whatever it might be. And so this is where we alert you to those particular things. So if you see a link up here, you typically are going to want to click on that link and see where it takes you to bring in, for this one, a communication submission. When I go to my upcoming 25-26 school year, you'll see there's nothing in there yet, right? I haven't opened up online registration. Teachers aren't sending grades. We don't have new families enrolling, so there's nothing listed there. But as information comes in that you or your admin team want to deal with, there'll be a link listed right there. All right, Greg, do we have any questions or should we keep rolling?
Keep rolling. No questions yet, Paul.
All right. Next is working with student data. Do you want to take us through this and I'll kind of just add my thoughts, Greg?
Sure can, Paul. With hundreds of student fields being tracked in JMC, we identified the challenge of how we were going to make the student data available to you. We knew the solution needed to be simple, easy to navigate, and accessible. So we wrangled all of that data and provided a student dashboard on the View Student Data page in JMC Office. This page will be your most visited, most familiar page for much of your student information, since all of this information can be both viewed and edited from here. To get started, head to the View Student Data page in JMC Office. Basic demographics, name, gender, grade level, birth date, ID, email address, and many more. If you need to track it, it is here. Contacts are also located here. Parents, emergency contacts, doctors, lunch contact, fee contact, and anyone else you'd like to associate with a student.
Yeah, and managing contacts is a big deal, right? To make sure you're efficiently communicating with families. So I'm not going to spend much time on it here early in this session, but we have a whole section on it that we'll talk about in a little bit. So let's take a live look at working with student data. You can see we're just high level view here. So you're brand new to JMC, you've logged in. All right, here's my homepage, poke around a little bit. I'm going to go to the view student data screen. You can find any student you want by typing in their first name, their last name, anything you want. So I'm going to look up for my McElmurray's. And here is John McElmurray. So there's John McElmurray listed right there. Here's some demographic data. Here is the gender, grade level, and here's the context right here. Like I said, I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But that's that basic demographic info, and we've got the student photo here. So if the student photo has been used on JMC, or entered into JMC, excuse me, their student photo will show here, which is great, especially if you are a new person. And then across the bottom here, we have different tabs that store different information. And each state looks a little bit different, depending on what their state reporting requirements are. But in general, I'm going to take you through a few things here that are super helpful. First is the general tab. This is going to have their birth date, graduation date, username and password to log on to the JMC student portal, emails, phone number, license plate, any other information there, their state ID, right here, their student ID, and so on. So really helpful information for you there. These 5 flags are very important for each student. When you enter a new student, which is the next section, all 5 of them will automatically be checked. I'm going to tell you what it means when you look in there and you see if a box is not checked or something like that. This active flag means that student is active and currently enrolled in your school today. So if that kid is there, they want the active flag checked. If the active flag becomes unchecked, which JMC will do for you if you drop a student, meaning they're disenrolling, it will look like this. Now, this relates to the attendance flag. The attendance flag means that there is attendance information stored for the student this year. So when I look at a student here like this, if it looks just like this, Greg, what's it telling me if I see a student that looks like this with these 5 flags, but the active flag is not checked?
What it's telling me is that they, maybe went to school for the first 2 weeks, then moved or transferred to another district, but you have all of that attendance data into your system that you're probably going to have to, which is the next box, state reports to the state at some point during the year.
Absolutely. So you're right, Greg. That means if this attendance flag is checked, it means that they have been attending at least one day of school, and there's attendance information that is going to show up on the state reporting when they send it to the state. This attendance flag means they're going to show up on not just attendance reports, but reports overall. State reporting flag, very straightforward. If you want them reported to the state, that flag is checked. The rank means I want them ranked. An honor roll means I want them included in the honor roll. Now, you might have some students, for example, that might, and this is very rare circumstances, but just to kind of give you an idea of how it can be flexible, you might have a student who's a foreign exchange student. And in Minnesota, if I think I'm correct, I don't think we report foreign exchange students to the Department of Ed. So they might look like this. They're active, they're in your school, there's attendance, but they're not being reported to the state. We're not including them in the rank, and they're not included in the honor roll. Again, you can decide how you want to do it, but the main thing I tell folks here is you want to make sure you know what you're doing when you start to check and uncheck these boxes. Don't uncheck them and check them willy-nilly. If you're just dealing with regular student enrollment, students coming to your school, students leaving your school during the school year, JMC will actually typically take care of this active flag for you. But if there's something that's more in depth, it's kind of a peculiar situation, reach out to our tech support line, right? That's right here on the right hand side at that 1-800 number, or email us so we can make sure to guide you, because student enrollment is very important to track. Okay, go back to the homepage here. All right. Do you have any questions, Greg, or should we keep on rolling?
I did. There are a few questions.
Okay, go ahead.
We've got one that says, "Can I edit a new kindergarten student ID? And if so, how?" And along with
Great
that,
question.
what if they were enrolled and we don't know if they're coming back?
Let's take the first question, right? So you can actually edit a student's state ID, but lots of states now, due to EdFi and things like that, sometimes will import the ID, but if not, if you've got to type it in there, you sure can type in their state ID. If you want to change their student ID, so the student ID is this number 45 for the student over here, and I think that's what this person's asking. That ID in many, many schools is used for their lunch number or breakfast number as they walk through the meal line. Sometimes people want to change that to a specific number based on grade level. You can go under, let's see here, I haven't done this in a little bit here. I think it's under edit, down to renumber student. So this is student number 45. So lots of times what I'll do is I'll come in. This is one of my biggest time savers for new users. So if you want to write something down, this is one of the biggest time savers for using JMC as a student information system. So I can actually right click here and open that in a new window. I can have multiple screens open at the same time. So if I want to change student number 45 to student number 4501, I can come here and say student ID from student ID 45. It's John McElroy to 4501. We'll see if that's an open number and click OK. And I think that did it. Let's check and see. Go back here and then this. There we go. 45. Excuse me. I sneezed. Excuse me. Little summer allergies there. 4501. So that's how we renumber a student. Then what was the second question there, Greg?
The second question was, what if they were enrolled and we don't know if they're coming back? And
So
along with that, what is the date?
So I didn't get the last part. Sorry, Greg.
Well, after that, they said, what if they were enrolled and we don't know if they're coming back, and what is their date?
Yeah,
probably asking like what date you unenroll them.
Add students job. I think we get to that later in this presentation, and if not, we will touch base on that. But I'm pretty sure we get to adds and drops here in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Great. Was there any other questions, or is this good to go?
No, that's it. That's it.
Awesome. And who asked those great questions? Did they say or no?
That was Sheila.
Good job, Sheila. A+ for you today. Way to be engaged with your class. All right, here we go. Adding a new student here. The new student wizard provides the most efficient path for entering a new student or returning fifth year senior who you're into your school database. The Wiz, as we call it, will guide you through the necessary steps to make sure the appropriate information is ready to share with the Department of Education. Simply enter basic demographic enrollment data with the new student wizard to add a new student into JMC Office. Here we go. In JMC Office, head to Edit, New Student Wizard to enter a new student. Step 1, select the New to District, right there, or Returning Student radio button to choose how the student will be enrolled in your district. New to the district, a student who has never been entered into your JMC database, or returning student is a graduated senior who was exited from your database and is returning to your school. Helpful tip: select a returning student from the Find Returning Student drop-down list and click the Accept Student box to re-enter a graduated senior to your database. If you're brand new to JMC, you're probably not doing this right out of the gate, but I'll let you know that is part of the process. Step 2, click the New Student button to begin entering data for your new student, or click the Cancel button to exit the new/existing student pop-up. Step 3, enter the last name, first name, gender, and grade in the appropriate fields and drop-down list to create a student record in your database. This is kind of the basic items to put a new student in. Step 4, optional, enter the appropriate student information in the General tab to complete your student record, or skip this step and return to the View Student Data page after entering enrollment data to enter the remainder of the student information. So if you got the birth date and stuff like that, you want to enter it right away, you can always come back and do that. Step 5, click the Save buttons on the page to add your student to your database and advance the student enrollment record page. And you can press either of these save buttons. Why do you have two save buttons? It used to be, even not too long ago, that people had smaller screens and didn't, wouldn't view the whole screen. And so this allows us to, if you're down at the bottom of the screen, you're scrolled down to be able to see that information. Step 6, it will take you to this page. Select the day from the day list box to set the starting enrollment date for the new student. Iowa, Nebraska, and Wisconsin schools. Did a student enroll over the summer? If so, select the first day of school from the day list to set the starting date for the new student as the first day of school. Minnesota schools, did a student join over the summer? Click the skip add button to skip adding a student, as JMC will automatically enroll the student on the first day of school. What this is just we're following the state guidelines for adding new students to school. And in the great state of Minnesota, you don't need an add code for the first day of school. Every student is given the same add code. Step 7, select the appropriate add code from the add code drop-down list to specify the condition under which the student is entering the district. For example, enrolled, open enrolled, or whatever. This will be different. This actually page from the right here on down will be different for each state. Just follow what your state has in front of you. Step 8, enter any other applicable enrollment information. Use the appropriate fields, drop-down list, and checkboxes to complete the selected student's state reportable information. Step 9, click the Add button to save the newly added student with a start date and enrollment date, or click Skip Add to add the information at a later date. So like we were saying before, you can skip add, especially in Minnesota, if they enroll over the summer. Other states, you choose the first day of school. You can come back and actually do this later if you want to. We say, it's typically easiest to do it right away, but if a kid walks in the morning, it's like, hey, I'm enrolling in school today, get me going. You can just come in and do this, and you can do it later, and I'll show you where you can do that later as well. All right, let's take a look at entering the student using the new student wizard here. Okay, so I'm going to come here under Home, under Edit, to New Student Wizard. The student's returning the district, new to the district. Again, if they're returning, actually, we choose returning. It's going to allow me to find that student that's listed there. But we're going to say new to the district. Click New Student button here. Okay, and I'm going to put in here the last name. Let's put in Johansson. I always put in the same numbers, the same name. So Johansson. First name, Paul. Gender, male. Grade level 6. I could enter other information if I want to. If not, I'm going to click Save. Okay. Oh, I am in last year. So let's go back. I'm in the current year. So we can't add them in 25, 26 yet. So I'm going to go to 24, 25. Let's try that again. So I apologize about that. This is something that happens. We are doing this right at the end of June, and we all know that school years end at the end of June. The next school year starts at July 1st. So I'll stick in my 24, 25 for the moment here. So let's try this again. Under Edit, New Student Wizard. New to the district. Create a new student there. Last name. I'll do another Johansson. Johansson. We'll do Bradley. I think of some new names. Gender, male, grade level 4. Again, I could put other information here if I want to. Now I click Save. Let's just pretend we're going into the 25-26 school year here. Okay, just kind of pretend with me. If we were going to the 25-26 school year, if they started over the summer for every state but Minnesota, I'd choose the first day of school. If they're Minnesota, I would click Skip Add because they're automatically added. But let's say for all of our other states, or anybody that adds after the first day of school. So just to make this clear, Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, choose the first day of school, fill out the information here, click Add. Minnesota, you would just click Skip Add. That's only for students who enroll over the summer. Anybody that comes after the first day of school, I'm going to repeat that again. Anybody comes after the first day of school, you'll just, every state, choose the date, choose the entry code. Let's see, entered in a, whatever it might be here. I think this is the most common, right? Enrolled in a non-public school or enrolled in a, let's see here. Gosh, this is Iowa, so I haven't done this in a while there. Open enrolled in here, if you want to there. You can choose their entry type if you want to. Transfer from another institution for homeschooling, where it might be. And then again, this is an Iowa database. So if you're not in Iowa, it's going to look a little bit different, and fill out the rest of this information and click Add. And that's all you do to add in a new student that's listed right there. And then that student's right here. Here's Bradley Johansson. And now I can fill out the rest of the information down here that I want to, including their birthday, graduate. Well, you probably wouldn't know their graduation date yet, although you might, but their birth date and email and password and so on and so forth. Then if you want to, you can explore these other tabs, put in their busing information, any comments about the student. So I'm going to go through these just a few items high level very quickly. You can put office comments in here. This is viewable by the office staff only on this screen only. So people will a lot of times put in here a note about when the student transferred in. Student transferred in on May 20 or June 26th, 2025 from another public school. They were struggling because they weren't finding busing at that school and they lived closer to our district where it might be. The parents were getting divorced, so they're moving it. Anything that you would want to know in the future about a student's enrollment that's listed there, because this comment automatically carries over from year to year. The teacher comment is viewable in the JMC teacher and the info button. So if you want the teachers to know something, it's meant to be to help the teacher along. So it wouldn't be like, hey, this kid's joining our school. Well, you know that when the teacher logs in the grade book because they're going to see that student. But anything you want them to know. The student's enrolling from a school. Maybe they're transferring in from California. The student's transferring in from California. They are behind in credits. So even though they are 17, we are enrolling them as a sophomore. Like that would be something you could put in that you might want to see on the teacher side that's listed there. Confidential comments are used in our larger schools if there's something confidential you want to know. You can create custom fields to track any information you want in JMC. There's digital equity. There's the student's photo. You can import a student photo file like from LifeTouch or something else. You can also just snap a picture of the kid on your cell phone, upload it to your computer, and change the photo just for that particular student there. Race, ethnicity, very straightforward for most states. Some states have some extra items. Minnesota and Wisconsin have some other ancestry data that you have to put in there as well. And then some schools have special ed and so on and so forth. I'm not going to go through all those things, but that's the basic information about a student. Now, it's the summer, so you typically are only adding students in. You're not dropping them, because if a student leaves over the summer, each state has different rules for what we call summer leavers. But a lot of states will have you drop them on the last day of the previous year. Some states have you come in and uncheck these flags, check with your state reporting. And there is in each state, and this is very, very important, you'll see on your home screen in August, we have a webinar for every state, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, to take you through everything you need to know about state reporting for the general overview and how to do what we call adds, drops, and reenters. So if you're unsure what to do with a student who dropped over the summer, just make a little note about that student. And you can watch last year's video if you want to. They're all on our YouTube channel. We got lots of great training videos. If you go to YouTube and search for JMC training, click on videos, you can actually search for your state. I'm just going to scroll down because I know where they are here. And we've got state reporting roundups from last year, and those are going to be very applicable this year. Are there new things in every state every year? Sure. But if you want to get right to it and find out things about how you add or drop a student in Nebraska, you can come in here and you can watch us. Here's what's new in Nebraska. And here is the Nebraska State Reporting Roundup. You can click on that. You can watch the whole video if you want to and listen to Greg Appleby. Lots of times as well, we have in here bookmarks so you can get right to the topic that you want. So if I wanted to look at, see here, how to, where is it here? Managing student enrollment. That's what we call it in each state. I could fast forward to managing that student enrollment to be able to see how I want to drop students during the school year or drop students over the summer. That's going to be in that managing student enrollment for every single state that we have. But just because we're just doing high level things here, I will tell you that when you drop a student, typically mean 99% of the time, maybe 98%, you're going under attendance, student to drop student, attendance, student to drop student. And you'll tell JMC who's the student, what day did they leave, and filling out the information that's listed here, and you'll drop that student. So it's very straightforward. And again, I cannot overemphasize that we have great instructions for every state that we do state reporting on our YouTube page. We did them last year in August. We're doing this year in August. You can search for your state. If I'm in, let's say, Wisconsin, I'll come down here to my searching on my channel here. I'll to Wisconsin, Wisconsin. And I'm going to see Here is my 2024 State Reporting Wisconsin State Reporting Roundup. We might have some other items in here for the state of Wisconsin, but if you're looking just for enrollment and the basics, it's always going to be called the State Reporting Roundup listed there. So I don't want to get too into the weeds for that because we're keeping it high level. But in essence, dropping a student allows you to choose a student in the day. You can use the new student wizard, or we actually have this thing called add student, which is very similar to the new student wizard, other than you have to choose a student, choose the day they added on, and fill out the information there as well. So the new student wizard, very helpful for putting new students in. Attendance student, drop student, we'll drop a student there. There's more information in that state reporting section. Greg, do you want me to add anything else about adding a new student in, or does that kind of cover it, or do we have any questions about that? I think that covered the
Yeah,
question
no, I,
that.
no, I think really good. The other thing I like in those YouTube videos is you can also go to the PDF, the slideshow. If you're one of those
Yeah.
persons who just wants to read those slides rather than watch the video, you can do that also. I just think that's very helpful, and I've had many of our clients tell us they really like that.
Yep. So when I click on here, I can click more. The first thing we always have is want to follow along with the presentation. You can click here and download the exact presentation, and I can still come in and I can fast forward to that part that is managing that student enrollment. Cool. Any questions, or should we keep on going, Greg?
I think we keep on going. I don't see any other questions.
All right, so now we're going to go an overview of AMC Office modules. And so to keep this moving along, what's going to happen is Greg is going to talk about each module in the JMC Office. And those modules are, again, these tree items on the left-hand side: attendance, schedules, grades, period attendance, and so on. And for each module, I'm just going to highlight one thing that I think is interesting about the module, or something that you want to consider or use as a new user. So let's get going, Greg.
Okay. JMC software is intentionally modular so you can customize the system with only the features you need, creating a more efficient and manageable tool for your school. As you update your software license, it's the perfect time to add more functionality to your JMC toolbox. The attendance module, required to run the JMC Office portal, is the heart of our system. It allows users to track student and teacher demographic data, attendance records, contact info, advisee lists, and assignments, and more, all from one convenient centralized location. Print and or export lists of data including ELL, LEP, enrollment history, and the standardized test scores using JMC's query engine student lists.
I like that we start with this one because it's one that can actually throw people off a little bit. The attendance module is not where you store attendance. You can run attendance reports, but it's not where you do your daily attendance for most schools. The reason we call it the attendance module is because back, 35 years ago, when we started adding new modules, this is where they did track attendance. And it's where they tracked parents and students and reports and overall reports in the program. And so that was before teachers could take attendance. Teachers didn't have computers in their own classroom back in 1982 when this module was rolled out. And so they would send it in the office to paper and so on and so forth. So we've kept that name. When we refresh, I'm hoping to call it the base module because you need it to run JMC because it's where your family's information is. It's where the overall reports are, your daily membership, your student list for running customized reports, for putting in your teachers, for putting in your rooms and putting your calendar in and those kinds of things. So the attendance module really is the base module in JMC. It's the overall module for running the program there.
Manage scheduling. Conveniently manage the student scheduling process from end to end and eliminate the need for time-consuming hand scheduling. Administrators can generate and customize master schedules, bulk load courses and students, analyze and solve student schedule conflicts, and more.
My big thing here is that bulk loading students into their courses is the most efficient way to get students into courses. And don't just try to muddle your way through the schedules module. We've got great videos on our YouTube channel here. If you go out to YouTube again, to our main page here, and you go to the videos link here, you don't have to go down very far to find out here our scheduling here. We've got basic scheduling for everyone and advanced scheduling tools for high school. They're both great things. You should watch them. They will save you tons of time as you get rolling in JMC. All right.
Next, The grading module offers comprehensive grades management and reporting for K-12 schools from a single convenient location in JMC Office. Users can access this module to edit, print, and email transcripts, determine class ranks and GPAs, and check that students have completed credit requirements for graduation.
Yep, that's right. You can print those report cards. It's just that module for doing grades. It works in conjunction with the JMC teacher portal so that when teachers send grades to the office, you're accessing the grades and the reports to the grading module.
Period attendance. As Paul said earlier, this is where you'll track absences, tardies, and reasons for absences on a period by period basis from any computer with internet access. Generate by period attendance reports and include attendance histories on students' report cards.
Teachers take attendance for each period. They send it in. It comes into the period attendance module. If you're in elementary school, what we recommend is setting up a 2-period day. Period 1 is AM or the morning. Period 2 is PM or the afternoon. And that way the teachers can take attendance even just once a day. It's how it's most common. We cover this in the period attendance module. But again, middle school, high school, they're typically tracking for each period of the day. So we call it period attendance. Elementary, you can still use period attendance, typically set up a 2-period day.
Streamline student behavior tracking. Allow teachers to record disciplinary infractions and consequences and relay them to the front office where administrators can share them with families, the homeroom teacher, and anyone else who needs up-to-date information on a student's behavior.
Unless you are doing something super unique, like maybe you are a Montessori school that is self-contained in all multi-age grade levels and in your classroom, and you're handling everything in class. Unless you're something super unique like that, every school should use the discipline module where teachers send in discipline reports to the office. The office can accept them, they can edit them, they can email out automatically a report to the teacher who referred them, to the parent, and to the student. It's just, there's no reason not to use the discipline module.
Simplify school activities management. The users can set team rosters, message families, and look up student contact details. Manage physical compliance, concussion awareness, and parent permission to participate and even integrate with iCal to keep everyone in the loop on activity schedules. JMC's Coach Advisor app also makes it easy to manage extracurricular activities on the go.
Schools that use activities in the activities module in JMC love it because it allows coaches and advisors to use the app to access information and communicate with their families. The one thing, if you're taking notes, the one thing I write down about activities is this, the thing we try to drive home over and over again. Activities are ways of grouping students. It's not just football, softball, the school play, chess club, any way you want to group students, because once students are grouped together in the activities module, you can run GPA reports by that activity. You can send out voice, text, and email by an activity. You can run student lists by activity. So yes, should it be used for all of your extracurriculars? Absolutely. Should you also use it as ways to group students together if you're just to run reports? That's a great way to use it as well.
Facilitate your school's internal communication. JMC recognizes the significance of clear and timely communication in managing a school system. Our communication module makes it effortless to monitor student communication records and interactions, whether they are negative or positive, pertaining to the student or their caregiver, inside or outside school premises.
So the key here is internal communication. This week kind of link to the discipline module. In fact, for many schools, especially elementaries, the communication module is used more than the discipline module. And what that means is that the teachers can send in any communication they've had with the student or the family, and the school counselor, your dean, or whoever can review that so that when you're having interventions with students or even with parents or guardians, they can see what communication has happened between staff and the family. So watch the video we have on discipline and communication and see how they interact. This is a very powerful tool as well. Every school should be using the communication module. I don't think I've ever talked to a school that didn't say, wow, this has really changed the way we track interactions with students.
Health module. Manage all of your school's health needs in one easy-to-use program. School health professionals can use the module to manage and search student health records, including office visits, health screenings, medications, and immunization records.
If your school is underutilizing the health module, I highly recommend they use the medical emergency plan. What this allows your nurse to do or your office is put in any health information they want the teachers to know about a student. Maybe they're allergic to bee stings, they've got a peanut allergy, whatever it might be. And then the teachers will get an alert in their JMC teacher portal every time they take attendance, every time they grade the student to see what's going on with that student. And you enter it in one spot, and all the teachers who have that student can see that.
Successfully manage school meals. Use our lunch module to maintain meal accounts, prepare monthly reports, and handle FRP accounting. We also offer point of sale software for cafeteria sales and detailed reporting of both meals and a la carte purchases.
You're doing free and reduced lunches at your school or serving any lunches, you got to use this module. Huge time saver.
Stay on top of school meals with Family Access. Students and their families can access the lunch module through JMC Family, where they can view their meal account balances and transaction history. This provides a convenient way for families to stay informed about their students' lunch habits and helps prevent any potential issues with unpaid meal charges.
JMC Family Portal, again, is a must-have for schools. You want to kind of lean on your families a little bit to use that to access the information instead of calling the school. Now, I love this picture, just so you know, Greg, and I've seen it a couple of times since we've done this presentation. This is a student whose mom or dad is, or guardians, picking up their what they're going to wear today. I don't see this kid saying, "What do I want to wear this morning? A green cardigan and that checkered button-up," right? Somebody
My
had their clothes
guess,
picked up.
my guess is that was picture day, Paul.
That might have been picture day. Absolutely. That's right. That kid's gonna look back and be like, wow, my dad loves sweaters.
All right, student fees. Define and set up your own fees, including items like school tuition, library fines, activity fees, and more. Charge fees throughout the school year, print reports, and maintain accounts, all from within the module. Schools that have purchased online payments can give families online access to fee transactions and account balances.
That's right. The online payments allows for those credit card payments to be able to pay for lunch deposits or tuition fees. And kind of here's my general rule of thumb for the tuition fees module. If you are a school who is tracking tuition or fees and you're doing it on spreadsheets or paper, you should absolutely use the tuition fees module. If you're a school that's doing those things and you don't like it because it's not integrated with your with an SIS, or you're just switching to JMC for the first time, you should use the JMC tuition fees module. There are schools though out there that where the bookkeeper's like, hey, I love my tuition and fees. I'm using QuickBooks maybe. I'm using Intuit, whatever it might be. I don't want to switch. I never encourage a school to force a bookkeeper to switch away from something that's working for them and streamlined. But if it's not working, the JMC tuition fees module is a great solution for you.
Customized assessments. The standards and benchmarks module gives schools an assessment option that's customized to their needs. Use the module to set locally defined standards and benchmarks, create and record formative assessments, link assignments to benchmarks to calculate results, and generate standards and benchmarks report cards.
This is used to do those elementary K2 report cards, K5 report cards. I can tie my shoes, I can count to 10. So it's a very valuable module, especially in the lower elementaries.
Paul, my favorite, the Message Center. With our fully integrated voice, email, and text messaging module, not only can you communicate with parents and students effortlessly, but you can also contact specific groups by grade level, activity, course, and even bus number. Families can even choose their preferred language for receiving school communication.
We talk about this a lot, Greg, with schools because they underutilize it. And I tell every school I talked about messaging and communication tools, your superintendent, your school principal, your president of your school, whoever the lead person is, should be sending a voicemail at least once a month telling families the good things that are happening in your school. That creates relationship. It creates the idea that they want to keep up to date. And that's how schools come to be more tied into your school. So they're choosing to send their kids to your school.
Effortlessly design custom forms. Make the most of your school's data with JMC's Custom Forms feature. Office users can easily create and design forms, letters, or report cards to their exact specifications using any piece of information stored in the JMC database.
Creating forms is a great tool. It's a challenge no matter what. I use Google Forms online to create forms. There's nuances to all the different forms things there. So my big thing here is if you want to create an absent tardy letter, you want to create a student information form, you can reach out to training. They will send you the appropriate videos. You can find the video yourself if you want to, but get the training before you move forward on this one. Like, discipline, you probably could figure out on your own. Communication, you probably could figure out. Activities, really not that hard. But the form designer does take some training.
Enrollment forms. New families can enter demographic data and information about students who are going to be newly enrolled in a district from any web browser. Empower families to take control of their own data and remove the burden of data entry from your front office staff with the new family enrollment portal.
Super easy portal to turn on. So you have a link to send to new families who are interested to collect their information instead of making them come to the school or send them a packet of information. Every school should use this.
Online payments. Transform payment collection in your school community with JMC's secure and intuitive online payments module. Schools can accept credit card or ACH payments for tuition, fees, and meal plans 24/7, giving families a more convenient option over paper checks or cash. Admins can also issue refunds, reconcile payments, and access reports by student or date, all from within the module.
Yep. If you want to collect credit card payments online, we can do it in JMC.
JMC Family is a convenient way for families to ensure their school district has up-to-date information about them and their students. Go paperless on back to school night by collecting answers to health and custom fields questions, contact information, free and reduced lunch forms, and even sign and return forms right in JMC.
We touched on this in other modules as well, but that JMC Family Portal is helpful, and you manage it all through that link right there.
And finally, the teacher conference schedule. You can post your conference schedules online so families can sign up for available time slots themselves. Teachers can set the time and length of conferences, reserve blocks, and or override appointments on behalf of families and send confirmations and emails.
That's a great tool, especially for elementary schools. A lot of high schools will just have open time for people to come and stop. That's when I was a teacher. That's what we did. But if you are having to schedule families, if you're using a third party, you should probably be using JMC. If you have teachers sit in a room for a half a day and map out teacher conferences, you should use JMC as the JMC teacher conference scheduler. But wait, there's more. 3 apps. What do we got for 3 apps there, Greg?
3 apps we have is the Admin Connect app, which allows school administrators real-time student information on the go. They really need that. The Family app, which is really important, which enables families to access real-time student information on the go. And then the Coach Advisor app, which enables coaches and activity advisors to maintain communications with students and families even when they're on the move. All 3 of those are really good apps, Paul.
And we have a video on each one of them. Again, I will say that you should have some coaches and advisors using the Coach Advisor app. The Family app is a cool app. A lot of people will still check JMC Family on their phone, the portal, or go to their computer. If they want to use a Family app, it's a great way to have them just have it on the go. Every administrator at your school should have the Admin Connect app on their phone so they can, at a minimum, send out voice, text, and emails via the message center. So I'm not going to take a look at all the modules here. We did touch on them, of course. You can go through each of these. You can kind of poke around. You can come in here to our YouTube page, look at the videos. If I want to see the Admin Connect app, I think I can type in just admin. Let's see here. Connecting admins to their entire school community with the Admin Connect app. It's right there, right? So really easy to be able to find those things. I think we've spent enough time on that. Is there any questions there, Greg, or no?
I don't think I see any. Well, maybe go. They wanted to talk about, Sheila wanted to talk about if we can dive into enrollment forms. For example, maybe kindergarten enrolling.
We don't do this in this video, Sheila. I would say if you want to, I would just email training@jmcinc.com just because this particular training is a little longer. But those enrollment forms, we just you would actually use the new family enrollment to collect that information there, is how we typically would do it. If they're a new family, to get their new information there, the new refresh new family enrollment. And then what you can do is you actually can use the summer re-registration if you want to for like a kindergarten roundup, but you probably gonna have to connect with a trainer to do that. So just email training@jmcinc.com and they can give you that more. It's more than just a 2-minute explanation. We'll want to find out what are you doing and how can JMC simplify that process. But that is a great question. All right. Working with contacts, student contacts. Now, contacts are important because, especially, we think the people that are watching this are brand new to JMC, and they probably in some way are going to work with contacts. So even if you're the food service professional, who is a contact? Who's in charge of the paying the lunch fees? Your main office people or administrator. What do contacts mean in JMC? And understanding how they work will save you time. So in JMC, a contact refers to any individual, usually an adult, who communicates with the school regarding a student. These contacts can include parents, guardians, grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, babysitters, health professionals, and others. Contacts are managed through JMC Office or the new family enrollment portal, allowing them to be associated with students for appropriate data access and facilitating seamless communication between the school and stakeholders. All contacts are stored in JMC Office on the Edit Contacts page. That's under Attendance, Contacts, Edit Contacts. Each person has their own page here. As you can see, this is Sarah Aseth. Contact details can be entered or edited directly on the Edit Contacts page via new family enrollment, which we just talked about. New families can also enter new information in, and through the JMC Family Portal, allowing families and office members to collaboratively maintain up-to-date contact records. So there's folks can update their own information, and the office approves it. They don't automatically change it, or the office can go in and change the information as well. All right, so here's those 3 different pages. Edit contacts. You can add new contacts, delete old contacts, or edit demographic information for existing contacts right from the Attendance Contacts, Edit Contacts page. That's the office side. Then merge contact submissions. So these are what you'll see in the top right-hand corner if somebody sends in information to be say, hey, they got a new phone number, they got a new email address. You can review edits to contact information submitted through the JMC Family page before accepting them into JMC Office from the Merge Contact Submissions page. And then the JMC Family Start Continue the registration process. This enlists help from your families in maintaining up-to-date contact records directly through the online registration page in the JMC Family Portal. So this is saying that when parents re-register for the school year, they fill out free and reduced forms, they answer questions, they sign forms, they can also update their contact information listed there. Then we also have 2 more items here. The new family enrollment, which we've touched on already. Families who are new to your district can easily submit their demographic information through the new family enrollment portal to populate the Edit Contacts page with their initial contact records. And family enrollment forms. Once new families submit their information through the new family enrollment portal, quickly review, accept, or reject submissions onto the Edit Contacts page from the family enrollment forms page. What we're really saying here is when new families submit information, it doesn't automatically come into JMC. You have to approve it. Now there's contact types. A contact type defines the relationship between a student and a contact. These types are crucial for granting appropriate access to the JMC Family Portal, linking siblings to a household, facilitating groupings for communication purposes, and more. In addition, contact types help office staff identify individuals associated with a student, promoting student safety. So I'm going to go through each different contact type. Now, where do we see these contact types? I'm going to go to the View Student Data screen, and for each contact we have, let's go to, I'm going to actually go down to my 25-26 school year so I can see what people are going to be seeing coming up here. And if I type in McElmurray, MCEL, John McElmurray, you'll see that John has 2 primary contacts, a dad and a mom. They're divorced. So for each contact I have listed here, I can change the type here. We've got primary, secondary, emergency, doctor, storm, other, and organization. So I'm going to walk you through what each one of those is. And then that will help you understand how you put these in. So the first is primary. This is the main one, parents and guardians. We can really sum it up here, parents and guardians. But the longer explanation is the primary is responsible for a student's day-to-day well-being and activities. In most cases, they're parents, step-parents, and guardians, but in some instances, they can also include grandparents. Primary contacts have access to student information through JMC Family and receive student mailings and emails such as report cards and schedules. Now, that's different than the secondary. That's responsible for a student, but not the primary caretaker. Typically, these folks are non custodial aunts, uncles, grandparents, neighbors, or babysitters. We put them in there just in case they might pick them up from school or have some influence on the student. Then emergency. This is a contact to call when a parent or guardian is unavailable during an emergency. There's the lunch contact. It's responsible for paying the account balance for a student's meals and a la carte items or applying for free and reduced status. Because even in divorced family situations, only one parent is allowed to apply for free and reduced status. That's the federal law. You can't have them both and then you average. That doesn't work. It's one parent is applying. So we have a lunch contact. And there's a doctor, a student's primary care physician, not used as much. Back in the 80s and early 90s, it was used where people wanted to know if they had to take a kid to the doctor in a local small town, but you can put it if you want. Storm is a student's contact for inclement weather. Here in Lake City, we had some times where storms blew in and a kid couldn't make it home because they lived out in the country. With the advent of modern, weather prediction, and I think that administrators are wary of having kids stuck at school or not going home, that usually now schools are calling off school before we get to that point, but you sure can put a storm in there. And then there's other. That's student contacts do not fit into any other categories. Greg Appleby, did you ever in the last 10 years have a kid who couldn't get home because of a storm? And I've never asked this question, so I don't know the answer.
No, not necessarily. We may have had to keep them at school for a while, until we could have the proper contact. But no, haven't had that one occur.
But you get some blizzards in northeast Nebraska, don't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then we get blizzards, and then sometimes you have the tornado. We're a little bit in Tornado
Oh, sure.
Alley. The storms that roll in where we have to keep kids at school for a certain time. So have things like that.
That's right. But being in the Irish capital of Nebraska, the luck of the Irish keeps you from those tornadoes. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
The organization. This is the contact responsible for paying fees, registration, athletic activity that a student accrues. When applicable, an organization such as a scholarship fund can be substituted for a student's fee contact to permit a non-family member to making payments on a student's behalf. All right. How do we associate students or contacts with students? Student contact associations allow JMC software to funnel student information to the correct contacts based upon the contact type. The View Student Data page in JMC Office permits the association of up to 10 contacts with a student to ensure schools are able to easily communicate with the most important people in the student's life. So we have on the right-hand side here, a couple items here. Actually, I'm sorry, right here in the middle, this copy contacts button. Copy contacts quickly and easily copy contacts from one student to another with the contacts page button on the View Student Data page. That's a really cool thing. If a kid's got siblings, you've already put their contacts into one sibling, you can copy to another student. And then change contact. Associate a contact with a student with the help of the change contact button that accesses a list of available contacts from the edit contacts page. Once contacts are created in JMC and associated with students, you can create your very own easy to reference contacts list from a print contact directory page in the attendance module. Print hard copies of all different contact types or export them to a CSV file to have an alphabetized list of all contact information at your fingertips. So actually, I'm going to go how to add a contact first. I'm going to make this quick because I know, again, it's a long presentation, but a lot of good information. Who was the kid that we just put in here? Is it Johansson? Was that right?
Yes, I believe so.
Bradley Johansson. So let me make this like this. So we got Bradley Johansson. Bradley's mom and dad are not put in. He's got married parents. So what I do is, and there's a few different ways you can do this to add a new contact. You can sure click the add a new contact link here, and I can put a contact in. So that's easy to do. So we'll put in here, Mr. and Mrs. Johansson. I'm just making this up. You would actually put their name in just to be clear. Address 1234 Fifth Avenue. And this is in, oops, that's about right there. And this is in Lake City.
And one thing, Paul, with that name, when they're in the same household, if it's Bob and Alice, you want on that first name, put Bob and Alice Johansson.
Yeah, I should have done that. So we'll do Bob and Alice now. Yeah. And then you can put email addresses and phone numbers, but I'm going to save this here. And what this actually does is it puts them in as the first contact, and it makes them the primary contact, because the first person you want is the person who has the most influence on a student's life. And I'll click save, and I can do that just like that. And that's the primary contact. If I want to, for a description, I can put in parents or guardians or step parents or whatever you want there. It's really easy to do. Now, that's one way to do it, and that's an easy way, and I'm not saying that's a bad way. So you sure can do that if you want. One way I teach new users to do is I have them go under attendance, contacts, to the edit contacts page, and they're going to right click on there or control click. Just like I can right click or control click. I'll do that again here. Open a new window. Here's my edit contacts page. One thing sometimes people will do is they'll come in. I'm actually just going to clear out this contact here. We're going to clear that and save that. Is they'll come in here and they'll come to the edit contacts page, and they'll just come, and this is where you can find any contact you want that's listed here. You can search for contacts. Do we have any Johanssons in here? Oh, yeah, Bob and Alice Johansson there. Well, maybe that's not, maybe there's multiple Johansson families, right? Maybe it's not Bob and Alice, or the parents of, what do we got here, of Bradley. Maybe it's a different Johansson family. You can come in here and I can click add, and it basically just clears it out. And we're now going to do Paul and Sarah Johansson. And I'm going to put their address in here again, 555 6th Avenue West, Lake City. We'll keep it in Iowa. I can fill in the other information. You would do that because you're getting that information. You might as well put the phone number and email in, but I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to click save. And so I'm able just to come in here, add all the contacts, and if I want to, then I can go back to student data. Again, you can do whatever you want. This is just another way. I can click change contact, type in Johansson, Joha. It's Paul and Sarah, and I click OK. It's going to go in there. It's going to go as a primary contact because it's the first one. Oops, not Sarah. Sorry, parents. And I can save that. That's going to save just like that. Now, if I want to add another contact in, what I need to do is come here to empty contact number 2. Now, let's say that the other Johanssons are the aunt and uncle, and I want to make them the emergency contacts. I could come here to edit contacts. I could add in the new Johanssons and put them right there. Again, it's just, for me, it's easier for a new user to go back and forth between those tabs. Instead of clicking add a new contact in a pop-up window, you can do whatever way you want. But let's say I put in the other Johanssons here. I already put them in, Joha, and Bob and Alice. They're the emergency contacts. I'm going to come here. I came here. I was on this screen right here. I was on the primary contacts. I want to add an emergency contact. I'll come here. Got to go to an open empty contact. Change contacts. Not Paul and Sarah Johansson. Johan. Bob and Alice. Okay. We default now to other because we don't know what type of contact it is. We don't know how they're related. I'm going to change this to the emergency contact. I'm going to write here aunt and uncle. I'm going to click save. Now, when I look up the student, we've got their primary contact, which is their parents, and their emergency contact. Oh, I didn't save it. Aunt and uncle. There it is. Yep, aunt and uncle listed right there. And so I can see who those folks are. The other cool thing now is on my edit contacts page, if I refresh this, and I go and I find the Johanssons. I go to Paul and Sarah. It's going to say I have one contact, a primary kid that's attached to me as a primary, Bradley. He's my primary, and if I just right arrow here, it's going to take me to the next one. Nope, that's not them. Oh, I have to go back here. Hold on. There we go. Bob and Alice. Oh, I don't have it there. Sorry. And it will show up. It'll take a second here to refresh. I can refresh it. I would see them as their emergency contact listed there as well. So it's just a cool way to have all those different contacts listed there. I can have up to 10 contacts attached to a student listed right there. And again, all I have to do is find an empty contact here and add a new contact in by either changing the contact or editing the contact or add a new contact in that's listed there. We have a whole video on updating contacts, but in essence, you're just coming here, choose an empty contact, either attach them here by adding that new contact here, or come here to edit contacts, add a new contact, whichever way you want, and then choose to change that contact. Really easy way to be able to come in and add those contacts listed there. I will say the first few take you a few minutes just to get used to it. But once you get rolling, managing those contacts is really easy. So once you have the contacts in, you can print a contact directory. This convenient drop-down list allows you to choose from all contact types in order to create a list of contacts to which you want a quick access. Then you can print or export that list. Take your full list of contacts offline for quick access, whether it be at your desktop or on a folder on your desk, or if you want something in case there was a fire in the school or something like that. So where is that? That's under attendance, contacts, to print contact directory. Attendance, like I said, that's the main base module. Contacts, that's what we're writing in. Print contact directory. You can choose primary. That's what I'm saying, this drop down list. Secondary, emergency contacts. Usually we're doing primary contacts. Now that we have cell phones these days, again, emergency contacts aren't even used as much anymore, but people used to print a lot of emergency contacts, but lots of primary contacts now. Click preview, and there's all the contacts and all the students that are attached to them. You can print that or export that. So Greg, anything you want to add about contacts, or did I cover it enough, or anything? Any other words of wisdom?
No, you've contacted it very well, answered it very well, but I do have a question that
Hey,
pertains to this. And the
yep,
question is from Hannah, and she wants to know what if the parents have different last names?
great
Example,
question.
the contacts are in the same household, both want to be the primary contact, but have different last names. What is the best way to input their information?
There's two things you can do. So let's go to Paul and Sarah here. Let's say it's Paul Johansson and Sarah Freed. So one thing you can do is what I tell folks, when you use JMC, JMC is a tool like any other tool, and you use it the way that it works best for you and what makes sense to you, and also your post office as well. So one thing you can do is you can do Paul and Sarah Johansson and Freed. And so this is saying Paul Johansson and Sarah Freed. I don't necessarily like this way, but it does work because when you print a label, because that's kind of what it comes down to, is printing. That's one of the things it comes down to. So I'm going to go under to show you another thing here in JMC under attendance, student to mailing labels. I'm going to do a random student, Johan, rather Johansson. And I'm just going to print this. Let me actually just save this first if I didn't do that. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And this is what I would do the same thing. You can see I love opening multiple screens in the same web browser. So I'm going to print this. And this is going to say Paul and Sarah, Johansson and Freed, and so on and so forth. So if you don't like it that way, you don't have to do it that way. The other thing I don't like about this particular one, you might be like, why am I saying about the ones I don't like? Is some people do it this way. The one thing I don't like is that it used to be that we would put in here the username. If I put this in right away here, it would actually say Johansson and Freed down here for the family login info. But we actually changed that now in JMC. So if it did say this, Johansson and Freed, because we just take what's ever in there the first time you put it in, and we fill it in here. No parents want this as their username. So we did make it so that you can come in and change the username to be whatever you want. It's not unique because I have another one that's in there. So I'm just going to read that at the moment here. I'll just do Johansson 1 or something like that, just so it doesn't keep doing that. That's one way. It's not my favorite, but some people choose to do it that way. What I like to do is say, what's the kid's last name? The kid's last name is Johnson. So what I do is I'll move the address line to the second address line and do Sarah Freed down here. Sarah Freed. I'll do Paul Johansson at the top. I'll save that. Why do I like that? Because now when the parents log on to the parent portal, their last name matches their username, which I just think is easier, but you don't have to keep it that way. So that's totally up to you. But what I like more is when I print the mailing labels here. I'm going to print it and print that up here. Paul Johnson, Sarah Freed. Here's the thing there, right? You could also, if you want to get a little fancy, again, it's a tool, so you can do what you want. I could do Paul Johnson and I could do my little and there. Click save because sometimes parents get a little ornery about how their name is displayed. Let's print this again. You can see it's cool because I save it in one side. I print it. Paul Johnson and Sarah Freed with the address listed there. So this is my preferred way. I think it looks the nicest. I think it's the easiest for folks to read. And again, the idea of like what's in this last one isn't really a big deal anymore because you can put your username in there to be whatever you want, and the password for families to log on to the family portal there as well. So, Greg, do you think that answered it well enough, or do you have any other tips that you would do?
Yeah, no, I think that looks good, Paul.
Yeah, there is another one. I don't mean to muddy the waters, but I also can do this. Paul Johansson, and this is another way you can do it. Sarah Freed. And I'll talk about why I don't quite like this one. It works, right? So I'm going to save this. And it works for a label. Now, before you get excited about this, there's something I really don't like about this one. And I'll tell you in a minute here. So there's Paul Johansson, Sarah Freed. Here's what I don't like about this one. If I'm looking, and this might have been updated now. If I'm looking, I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to refresh and go to the beginning. If I'm looking for Paul Johansson or Sarah, Paul Joha. Okay, we have updated this, so it does read Paul Johansson and Sarah Free, but it can be a little funky. You'd have to just let your office staff know, like, hey, we're doing it this way, right? So that we can keep track of it. So even though I'm just typing in Paul Joha, it does bring up anybody who's got that information that's listed there. So I can find it, but it's a little funky. But so this is not a bad way. It's not a wrong way. I don't know. Sometimes I like this one more than I like the other one, but just give me the tools of what does it come down to? How are we searching for them? And how does it look on a label? Great. Anything else, Greg?
No, no more questions.
Great questions, because when people come from other SISs to JMC, it takes them a few minutes just to wrap their mind around it. But having one record per family when they live together saves you lots and lots of headaches down the road. When people split those out on other SISs, it makes emailing report cards a pain. It makes looking up families a pain. It makes knowing who's divorced and who's not divorced a pain as well. All right, view and editing contact information. You know what? I I got ahead of myself. So I'm going to run through this here, but we talked about contacts already. We edit contacts in attendance contacts, edit contacts. I did this last time we did this, Greg, I apologize, but attendance contacts, edit contacts, find the contact that you want. The students' names will be listed here. I'm just going to briefly run through this. You can edit any of the information that you want on here. And here's where you put in, this is step 3. This is an important one. Enter a username and password in the appropriate fields to provide login credentials to the JMC Family portal and the JMC Family app as well. That's listed right there as well. A family's default username is the last name of the contact. However, this can be updated to avoid confusion for contacts with the same last name, as we talked about already. Step 4, you can enter up to 8 email addresses. Step 5, you can enter up to 8 phone numbers. I know I'm going quickly because I kind of went over this already. Enter a description such as dad's cell or mom's work for each phone number in the description field to easily identify the phone number on the view student data page. And I'll talk about that in just a moment here. Step 6, with the phone numbers, select the appropriate option from the type drop-down list to indicate whether the phone number is from home, work, fax, or cell phone. Step 7, select a numeric rank from the rank drop-down list to prioritize the order in which the phone numbers are contacted. Most people just put the mom and dad's cell on the top. That's the easiest way to manage that. Step 8, and this is important. Place a check mark in the appropriate messaging service checkboxes to specify the purpose or category of the communication associated with the phone number. This is the text message for SMS. Then emergency weather related includes the phone number in the emergency weather related or call group for the message center. Then we've got the student lunch related includes the phone number in the student lunch related call group for phone calls sent from the message center. And general school information includes the phone number in the general school information call group for phone calls sent to the message center. Now, when we first rolled out the message center, I don't know, 15 years ago, we thought schools would use all 3 of these. In the real world, most do not. Most just do everything other emergency weather related. I mean, everybody's going to get the message. Some send out lunch related messages, and that's actually true. A lot do send out lunch phone calls, but the general school information really is not used all that much because somebody's got to check it and so on. So you can check these here, and families can check them online as well when they're in the JMC Family Portal. Step 9, click either the save buttons here, and you can also delete a family listed there as well. So I know I went through that quickly, but I've covered a lot of it when I was just talking about contacts. In a nutshell, to edit contacts, we go attendance, contacts, edit contacts, find the family there. So let's say I'm going to go to the Johansons again, Johan. There is Paul Johansson and Sarah Freed. I come in here. Phone number 1, 555-555-12345. And this is what it's saying. Put the type in there. If it's going to be receiving text messages, it's got to be listed as a cell phone number. And we put in here This is mom cell. And this is helpful because if teachers start looking this information up, which they can see in their JMC teacher portal, it allows the teacher to say, like, who am I calling? And this can be really helpful. And then you can check the boxes here, and here is dad's cell, or maybe it's just the home phone, or maybe dad works from home. 555, 555, 4321. This also has one too many numbers, so I'm just going to change that. And this is the home phone or dad. I'm just making this up. And family. And also, anyway, I can put home over here as well. You can use them however you want, right? And I click save, and that's what will be viewed when people look up their phone contact information. That's listed there as well. Greg, anything else about adding or editing contacts?
No, looks good, Paul.
All right, here we go. Any questions about adding contacts? I think we covered them all. Should we keep on rolling?
Yeah, keep rolling. No more questions at this time.
Connecting contacts with the students they support. I got way ahead of myself. I'm sorry, Greg, but that's okay. Well, I'm just going to go through this. We already talked about this. We already talked. I'm going to go to the live look here. Darn it. And I even looked at this beforehand. That's really funny. But in essence, attaching a contact to a student, we go to the view student data screen. Let's find another student here. Here's Kelly Johansson. I'm just going to clear this out. This is just so easy. Let's say that Kelly Johansson is the sibling of Bradley. This is another way I can show you a different thing here. Okay, I actually cleared it, but I didn't save it here. So I'm going to clear this and we'll save this. I could either go in and I could change this contact and just add in the Johanssons here, one by one, adding the emergency contact and adding in the primary contact. You could add in Sarah and Paul as the parents and Bob and Alice as the emergency contact. We've already talked about doing that. But what I like even more is I can say, hey, we can copy contacts because there's no contacts here. Oh, I've got a secondary not. Let's just change that here. Let's clear everything out. There we go, and save that. Now I've got no contacts listed here. I've got a feed and a lunch. Darn it. Look at this. That's right. We're just going to clear this out. There we go. And I'm going to clear out the lunch contact as well. There we go. All right. So now we've got nothing in there. I can come and say, this Kelly is the sister of another student named Johansson. I can copy contacts. It's going to say, hey, this student's existing contacts will be overwritten with contacts from a different student. No problem. I've already set up one student. We'll type in Johansson. I think it's Bradley. So H-A-N. Here's Bradley. Okay. And now, here's the thing to note. It takes us down to the other one in case you want to add another contact that's just unique to Kelly. But if I click save, which I would encourage you to do, it takes me back to the top. Here's my primary parents. Here's the emergency aunt and uncle. And here's another really cool thing. It shows the siblings right down here. So now I've done that. I know that Bradley is a sibling. How are siblings determined in JMC? They have the same primary contact. So sorry I got ahead of myself, but I think in essence we did cover how to add contacts, how to come in, choose an empty contact here. I can change that contact. I can add a new contact, or I can go to the attendance contacts, edit contacts page. Did I keep that clear enough, Greg, or did I muddy the waters? What's your honest feeling?
No, those are great examples. The suggestion I would make if you're going to do a family on that first person, make sure you put all of the contacts. If you have three contacts, the primary being mom and dad, the secondary maybe being an aunt and uncle, and maybe the emergencies, the daycare, do all of them for that
Yes.
first one, and then for their four other kids, then you can just go in and copy the contacts, and it will bring all of those over.
Yep. My last piece of advice I give people really tie themselves in knots when they have divorced and remarried families. We get this question a lot. How do we do it? I just say, take one kid at a time. Kelly's primaries are these people, and maybe they've got another primary who is, because maybe these folks here, right, are Paul Johansson, Sarah Freed. They're divorced and from somebody else. And so then you might have another primary contact. So I'm going to come in here. I'm actually just going to clear out the emergency one here so I can keep the primaries at the top. So what it is, let's save this as an example. Kelly has divorced parents. Paul is Kelly's biological dad. Sarah is the stepmom. Okay. But we've got the biological mom. I'm going to change this contact, and I'm just going to pick somebody out here. Smith. It is Jody Smith. And I'm going to click OK. And Jody is a primary contact. And this is the biological mom. So I put in here bio mom. Doesn't live with Jody maybe, or maybe only on the weekends, wherever we want. And I'm going to click save here. And this is going to allow me to come in here. We've got primary one of two. That means they've got divorced, two primary contacts. I'm assuming they're divorced. Here's the parents. I'm going to put in here maybe change this to say bio dad plus step up with the STP. There's only so many things. Step. Save that. So now I've got in here. Here is the, I got to refresh this here. Let's go back and left here. Bio mom. I must have not saved that there. So sorry about that. And then you can change in your bio dad, whatever you want it to be. The point being that you can come in here and you can change these to be primary contacts, and you can change the description to be whatever you want to make it easier to find who you want. I could even have, if I wanted to, and I'm not even being funny here, I'm being straightforward, you could have a third primary contact. Maybe mom got married and divorced again, so there's a stepdad that's a third primary contact. You could add them in. But that doesn't mean that Bradley, who is the half sister, Bradley might not have the same people. Bradley might just have his parents there and aunt and uncle, and that's okay. So you can just take one student at a time and adjust their contacts accordingly. People, again, when they try to say, well, stepdad here and stepmom, and how does this, it's not how the kids are connected. It's just who is the contact for that particular student. Okay.
That's great advice, Paul.
Thanks.
One at a time.
Oh my gosh, I did get ahead of myself. Printing your contact directory. We talked about this. Print the contact directory in JMC Office by going to attendance, contacts, print contact directory. We talked about that already there. That report will list each contact's name, the students they are associated with, their address, and phone numbers for a quick lookup wherever you may need to reach out to a family. If you're part of this presentation, you can tease me next time you talk to me, because we just did this presentation a few weeks ago, and I even forgot that we had did that there as well. Okay, that is all we have for contacts, and that is the end of the basic part of this instructional video here. We wanted to show you overall what modules does JMC have. We wanted to show you how to work with contacts, how to add a new student. Is there any other basic things that folks would like us to go to? We'll stick on this page for just a moment here, knowing that each module we have in JMC has a corresponding YouTube video. If I want to learn how to use the message center, I come to my YouTube page and I type in message center and have navigating the message center. It was recorded 1 year ago. We're going to be doing another one in the next month or so. If I want to type in how to use period attendance, there's mastering attendance right there. You can watch that. Here's one that was done 1 year ago. Here's some that were done 2 years ago, right? I would watch the most recent one, of course. We're always cleaning up our YouTube page there as well. So it's really helpful to come in, watch that video, watch at your own pace, stop it, watch a step, do a step, so you'll be good to go there as well. So other questions that might be on there, or are there no questions? I can't see on my side.
Yeah, I have no other questions at this time, Paul.
So moving forward, my hints are pick one module at a time and learn that module all the way through. I would go in, I would explore the View Student Data page. It can be really helpful to come in, go to the Edit to New Student Wizard, and set yourself up as a new student. Set yourself up as a parent and just play with the program. Because when you're done, let's just find somebody who I've got all kinds of Smiths in here, or I've got all kinds of Freeds in here. Actually, too many Paul Freeds. Here's Paul Freed as a 10th grader. And here is Paul Freed as a 3rd grader. Okay, let me just see which one I want to keep here. I'm going to keep the 10th grader. What you can do is you can put that demo student in, you can play with it all, and then before the school year starts, if you want, you can say, all right, I want to delete out the student, 332. And you can go under Edit to delete a student. And we don't typically recommend deleting a student. It's telling me I need to go to the district building, because we don't recommend deleting students unless you've put a student in by mistake or a demo student, because that student might come back to your school. If you put in a fake student, put in a fake family, you can go ahead when you're done. Type in 332. There's Paul Freed. Delete this. Are you sure you want to delete Paul Freed? It's irreversible. We can't pull him back in JMC. Yes, I can click OK, and I can delete out that contact or that student right there. I can also delete out a contact. So step one, if you're brand new, put yourself in as a student, attach yourself as a family member, and just play around. Put information in, add a photo in, add in different comments. It's not going to hurt anything. If you're nervous about it, uncheck the state reporting flag. So if I uncheck that state reporting flag, here, let's find somebody like this kid right here. They're not going to go anywhere, right? So play with a little bit on the view student data screen. Come under a different the modules here under attendance and run some, edit some contacts. Print a directory. Come here, run some reports that you want, attendance totals and so on and so forth. Just get a feel for what's going on, then start to work through each of those modules. That'd be my advice. Greg, do you have anything?
No, I think that's great advice. I've seen some people name the person like test, so it's
Yeah.
easy to find when they do that, but allows them to enter that information and to play around and get used to using the JMC. And the other thing I would say is learn that right click to open new screens. Like if you're an administrative assistant, you're going to have view student data open all the time, and I think you're going to have period attendance data, enter attendance open all the time. And then you can just go back and forth between the two.
Yep. Secure your period attendance data, edit attendance, absolutely. And then whatever your other main screens are as you're doing state reporting and things like that as well. And our team is here to guide you. If you need some help, reach out to training@jmcinc.com. So, all right, Greg, you bring us home with the upcoming news and events.
Our news and events. The JMC trainers are kicking off a webinar series aimed at getting you up to speed on the JMC tools that are most essential to your new role. Episode 1 of Welcoming New Users will center on JMC Office with a tour of the module's top time savers for managing student records. Register now to join this fundamental JMC Office training.
And that was today's. So I didn't actually take that one out, but we're gonna every week now we're gonna have something on new user training.
Just around the corner, summer check-ins. We're getting prepped and ready to get you prepped and ready for the fall term as part of summer check-in calls. Our team will ring you in August to offer support that can help you thrive in the new school year and see if your district would like to host a JMC regional workshop for new users in your area. Questions, please reach out to training@jmcinc.com. Enjoy the general store in all its glory. Our e-commerce portal has been a long time coming, and on September 26th, General Store will launch in full as your one-stop shop for selling school merch, providing tickets to community ed classes and events, and managing fundraising. To have the General Store added to your JMC toolkit, please reach out to our sales team. Staying ahead of the state reporting curve, data collection and submission guidelines are ever changing. Luckily, our data experts have tracked and compiled the latest batch of changes into regulatory roundup training, keeping you in the loop and your data in good shape for 25-26 state reporting. Nebraska, you're first up. Tune in on 7:30 for your roundup. All other districts, stay tuned for your turn in August.
We start with Nebraska because some of those Nebraska schools start school the first week of August. On behalf of
Yes.
myself and Greg Appleby, yeah, thank you so much for your time today. We look forward to training you, and thank you for choosing JMC.